I know it's like a rarity to get any kind of advance notice that I'm hitting the button. But, figured I'd give you guys a courtesy this time for once.
I mean, and by courtesy, you just stopped talking.
Yeah.
And then we looked at you and saw the countdown.
That's usually like, because y'all are like, you're in a serious thing, and it's like, this is gold. We need to have this on recording. Click.
With one correction there, a serious thing for us is, I don't know. I don't have a good response to that. We're never serious.
Literally the beginning of the conversation before you hit that was the fact that I have a jar of peanut butter over my left or right shoulder. So you decide how in-depth that conversation really was.
I mean, as stated previously, that is a good idea. That we should all aspire to have jars of peanut butter in our employ at all times.
I mean, it's just there because I didn't take it back to the kitchen. Yeah,
I take it back
because it belongs in the cabinet.
I mean, have an office peanut butter.
I mean, I kind of have today.
Good man.
Some people have whiskey in their desk drawer. Some people have peanut butter. Doesn't make me come off looking any better. I'm just, No,
I think it's a fair point. Some people have whiskey, some people have peanut butter, and some people have the Fairly KickAss podcast.
That was so unnecessary.
But smoother than like 90% of our intros. Let's go.
Somehow, some way. It's Zach, it's Jay, it's Dan. I realize that I don't think we've really announced who we are for like the last 3 months of episodes. So
that sounds right.
So if you've wondered who the hosts are of Your Good Ship Kick-Ass, it's us, Dan, Zach, and Jay. And we are gathered here today to talk about us. This is going to be a very self-reflective episode because we kind of came up with this idea of like, the artists of FKA. Maybe not necessarily our favorite artists, but I guess the artists that like embody the show, embody the podcast the most. There's one glaring exception to all of our lists, which we will get to momentarily. But before we do that, Jay, let me start with you, because I do want to say for me that this was a much harder than expected episode to put together. What was your experience like?
Yeah, ditto. It was so hard to put this episode together, mostly because reflecting is not something I tend to do on a regular basis with regard to my own listening habits and therefore talking habits on this show. But I will say that when I was looking at this, I went from the perspective of the artists that I feel like we had the most to say about and or were the most fun to talk about in a positive light. I have my dishonorable mentions list, or as I put it on here, my beef list. But for the most part, like the stuff that I put on, and it is largely from my perspective. I was very self-centered when I put together my 4 artists for this. And I'm very interested to see if there's overlap. I think with definitely one of them there is, and probably 2, there's some overlap. But I am really interested to see the take that y'all had on here, because I don't know. I've from that self-centered perspective, I wasn't really letting a whole lot of other stuff in. So I'm intrigued by what you're going to say.
Yeah, that is an interesting way to approach it. I'm curious, Dan, if you thought kind of the same as Jay did, or if you went in a different direction.
I think I went in a bit of a different direction, even though it sounds like I had just as much difficulty putting that together. Because it's not that I have anything against reflection, and in this sense, probably do it more often because I've always, pretend to be a professional and go like, well, how do I not sound as bad this week as I sounded last week? So sometimes I try to do that. And the difference, and I don't know how y'all record keep, but I have a massive file here that contains every word I've ever written for this show. And there's a lot of documents over here I've discovered. And there's even more that I keep finding on my Google Drive going, oh yeah, I guess I must have done that in the studio. or done that one at work. So I just have piles and piles and piles of notes. So I overwhelmed myself trying to go back and find things. And the best thing that I could think of was to kind of hit on artists that would kind of also hit like milestones as a show for us. I don't know if I achieved, and I think one of them maybe not, but that was sort of the way I had to narrow my search to a certain extent.
Yeah, I think that we, all three of us, have once again approached this in not vastly different ways, but certainly slightly different ways, because I know you had mentioned show milestones, Dan. Jay, I know you mentioned, kind of keeping it as you as kind of being like the focal point of the whole thing. For me, I kind of looked at it first and foremost, I guess kind of similar to both of you, that like if there was an artist that we talked about, it stood to reason that we would have done an episode on said artist. So all four of my artists are artists that we have done at least one specific podcast episode about the artist. And certainly we've referenced these artists multiple times throughout the years, but I wanted to make sure that they at least were the main character in the story one time. And I think all four of them have deserved to be said main character. With one exception, because there's always an exception, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it's a conversation of the spirit, the essence of the show. I think my four artists capture that. I say four, as I kind of alluded to, there are actually five artists. There is one that all three of us agreed that would not show up on any of our lists because it's literally rule one of this podcast. And that, of course, is the late, great Prince, who, if there is a show artist, Prince is the FKA show artist of all of them. So these four kind of come underneath the top Prince tier, but still no slouches, I'm sure, in their own right, regardless of whatever direction we end up going.
No, but also let me take a quick moment to explain a little bit, because we didn't really, this is one of our Rush episodes, why we mentioned we have four artists, but really have five. Because it's the whole idea of building that Mount Rushmore, doing that whole concept that annoys sports radio listeners when we're in the middle of the summer and there's literally nothing else to talk about. So you build a Mount Rushmore of the greatest blah, 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 blahs. And that's sort of how this became. So that's why we're going to have four. The idea is to come to a show four. And I'd also want to just point out that it's ironic that we're doing this show now, literally a week before the 10-year anniversary of losing Prince. So our timing turns out to actually be to work for once.
It becomes double important that it happens now. It's a weird to celebrate a 6th anniversary, but this month launches the 6th anniversary of this podcast.
Holy shit.
It does indeed.
Oh man.
How does that make you feel, Dan?
Yeah.
Not like old as much. I will have to, I don't want to derail it, but I have a story that I'll have to share where I immediately felt every hair in this beard wanting to go gray at the exact same second when it was given to me earlier this week. And the fact that we've been doing this 6 years, it's a different kind of old. It's a good old. Yeah. We're seasoned now.
Yeah, we're veterans. I have a similar story, I think, to yours as well that I'll share at some point that I also came across like yesterday or today. But at least for this podcast, I feel like because of the specific 6 years that we're talking about, like those were not like any other 6 years that have gone on at least in our lifetime and maybe in many, many lifetimes. So I think it's a difference in perspective. It does not feel that long ago, and I definitely don't feel older. To be totally truthful, I don't feel at all older hearing that.
No,
it's awesome that we've been able to do this for closer to a decade than to not doing it at all is amazing.
And we've been doing it, I think, in a time that will kind of, when we get some more distance away from this area, I guess you could call it post-pandemic, but I think we'll do it at a time where music made rapid changes and then change those changes and change those changes again. It may be one of the most dynamic periods in music in quite a while.
For sure.
But I would
disagree with that.
I think that's a different episode.
Yeah.
I think I'm writing it down because I think it's a fucking brilliant episode.
That's we've just booked our 7-year anniversary show.
Hell yeah, we did.
We did. I still think, based on what I wrote here, I still think Dan and I are going to have some overlaps, but I know for a fact that Zach and I are not going to have any overlaps now based on what he said.
I know I'm pretty sure we're going to have at least one. And I feel like that one is a cop out on my end because I couldn't get to 4. It was really difficult to find a spot where I would feel solid making that argument.
Well, how about since we know we have some overlap, why don't we start with Zach and see where he wants to pitch us first?
Yeah,
for his
totally.
Mount Rushmore.
Totally. And Dan, I do want to know like what that fourth one was, because I also had a fourth one that I couldn't decide, and I also felt that mine was a cop out. So if it's the same cop out we both had, I'm going to lose my absolute shit.
Can we pull from honorable mentions to create our rush?
No, until you said that, no one was going to know.
Oh, that's fair.
The curtain just gets pulled all the way back.
It's such a shame we do this live that everyone will know that.
I know. Oh shit. Well, at least my first one, there is no shenanigans needed, and I feel like if there was going to be one that overlapped, it was going to be one of my first two, and I still think there's a good chance that this is going to overlap. Not only because this is, to me, one of the FKA artists of the show, but also one that is an artist that the three of us and many of our ilk have kind of grown with, and that we fucked with for a very, very long time. Where we grew up at, this group was basically like the curriculum, right? You had your math, you had your science, you had your social studies, all that. And then you had Lazy, Crazy, Busy, Wish, and Flesh End. Of course, I'm talking straight from Cleveland, the motherfucking land of the heartless. 5 true thugs from the double Glock. Of course, it has to be Bone Thugs and Harmony. We certainly don't get much of a chance to talk about them, but we did do a great deep dive on them. I want to say it was like mid 2024, maybe like June of 24 that was reposted. So go check that out. There's going to be a lot of plugs in this episode. It's just the way it's going to go. Make a list. But yeah, it's just the formative years that we've all had listening to this group. Certainly it was going to bleed over into the podcast, and for good reason. They are absolutely amazing. And I think that their music certainly runs part and parcel to, what we do here. So I think they'd be a great addition to the Mount Rushmore.
I mean, I certainly don't disagree with that statement.
No, I'd like to withdraw my 4th. And it's interesting you mention that, because I think aside from Tupac, I think they were the deepest deep dive we've had to do, because there was so much music to get through and so much material, and because of the nature of that group, been doing so much as a group and as subgroups and as solo artists. It might have been the first one that we had to go, we got to divide this up and do 2 episodes, guys. There's no way we're going to get this done in 3 hours. For sure.
We probably could have done a 3rd episode if we had really set our minds to it too. Like there was that much meat on the bone.
Yeah. Like no pun intended.
Yeah. I wasn't even thinking about it. See, sometimes the puns happen when you least expect them.
I mean, they've always been one of my favorite hip hop artists, like since the dawn of Bone Thugs and Harmony. So like that's formative years for Jerry. That's all there is to it. Formative years for me.
For sure. Well, I was hoping to come out of the gate strong. I feel like I've achieved that for the most part, but I think both of you are going to do the same thing. So Dan, why don't you hit us with your first choice? And again, these are in no particular order for any of us. These are just the order that we're presenting them in.
No, but it's an ironic segue, as you mentioned, an artist along the same line that I was going for. Because I'm pretty sure if we go back to an episode that may not be available at the moment, maybe. I didn't check. But I still wanted to throw this band out, even though this might be more of an honorable mention candidate. But as I said, we're feeling nostalgic for show history. I was going for tent poles. and now why we kind of have moved away from doing these segments recently. One thing we did, as Zach mentioned a little earlier in the run, is those deep dives where we just kind of buried ourselves in an artist's discography in order to sort through their output, highlight the highlights, and tell the stories of their careers. And the first band on the block was a selection that was made not because they're one of the most well-known groups of all time, of ever, whose work every music podcast has to do some sort of deep analysis on. No, they're a group that was a one-hit wonder here in the United States and was more of a curiosity in the veins of, hey, I wonder what else they did. And the resulting playthroughs of their discography turned up a pleasant surprise. A pretty good band that was a bit of a trailblazer in their native Australia that truly deserves to be known for more than just a solid pop rock track about digging for clams, about tickling one's fancy, about flicking Fiona, about damning the beaver, about hitting the kitten, about pinching the princess, about denching the Judy, about surfing the slit, about playing vagina DJ. On that note, I humbly submit the Divinals.
Pardon me, but did you say denching the Judy?
That's the one I clocked too.
I did.
I'm speechless at that exact moment.
And with that, I am done. There is no creativity left in this room, and I shall be useless from here on out.
There's no encore to that whatsoever. If there was an artist that fit the ethos of this podcast, it's definitely the Divinals, of that desire to learn, that desire to see, like, we do it every month, right? We always come up with artists in the charting singles, on the album side. Like, we've never heard of this artist, or we've heard of them but haven't really listened to them. Let's dive in. Let's figure out what they're all about. Let's listen to these new songs that we've never heard. Like, if that's not FKA, like, I don't know what is, dude. It's a great choice.
It's also, I think that was the very first deep dive we ever did. So, getting down into the history of what we do here, I mean, good choice. I don't think we've mentioned them once since that episode. So I think like that pushes way deep into the history of the pod.
Yeah, that's why I said maybe it's more of an honorable mention, but I'll throw them out there. And for that reason, like, it hasn't really come up. I don't even think we've done a Billboard, the Billboard re-rack of the year. Was it 91 when that single would have hit? If it even made the year-end Hot 100.
I don't even know.
November of 1990.
Okay.
So damn close, really damn close. But yeah, I am, that's a curveball. I have to really sit and noodle that one. Good choice right out of the gate. Yeah, that one, by the way, is not on, it is on Spotify. It has not been moved over to all of the other podcast providers, but maybe next week, since I don't know if we're going to have a recording next week because of some travel, like, why not?
Sure.
Yeah.
Divinals. Welcome back.
Made. Have we done now you have me looking back, because it did not hit the year end, obviously, for 1990. It was only a thing for about a month and a half, but it's right there in the middle at number I just lost it. 52 of the hot year-end Hot 100 in 1991. So if we haven't done it yet, we're gonna do it at some point.
Yeah.
Well, Jay, what about your first choice for the Rush?
I'm gonna take a different stab this time around, and I'm gonna go for a recency that, like, for artists that tend to turn up regularly in our conversations now, as opposed to something that we dove into in the history. And I think over the last year or so, a little longer than that for two of us, but about a year for all three of us, it's got to be Sleep Token. Sort of, beginning with Sundowning for me, but really with This Place Will Become Your Tomb. I've been a vocal fan, ranking their records, singles, and personas high on every list that could possibly include them. Zach, I know you really started to take notice of them at Take Me Back to Eden and have been on board ever since. And Dan, while we had both introduced you to them in those time frames, you really got to start talking about them a lot when Caramel decided to start making some popular noise. My favorite genre of YouTube video these days is people discovering Sleep Token for the very first time. And so far on this pod, they can do no wrong. We always talk about them in glowing terms and at every possible opportunity. They show up on every list we do where that's even an option. And therefore I submit that they should be on our list.
if we were doing actual 5 artists, that would have been my number 5. It was my 4th artist for a period of time before I changed it around. So clearly I'm 1,000% on board. It certainly, like you said, is one that you kind of got Dan and I on board with. But once we were, like, to me, the wheels never fell off, and probably aren't going to. I feel like if we do this in 5 years, I think that's going to be it would be a slam dunk, top 4 for me for sure.
No, I mean, no arguments here. I know I was the one who was late to the party, and then, Caramel was tied for first last year song of the year. So yeah. I mean, and it's one of those, and I think this is the thing that I like to come out of the reviews with, is when we do find good stuff. And I imagine you guys feel the same way, is when you do find good songs and you do find good albums, they start making their way into your playlists months after they hit and you've reviewed them. The joy in going backwards through Sleep Token's catalogs has been what? Like, they quickly, Caramel hit, and then all of a sudden they were like my second most listened to artist on Spotify last year.
The floodgates just opened.
Opened, exactly.
It's the beauty of being able to watch React channels on YouTube, is that I don't have to creepily stare at my friends while I introduce them to these bands that I love, because I'm just doing it on YouTube. That's the acceptable way to do that.
For sure.
Exactly.
Oh gosh. Yeah, oh god, this is already hard, and I was hoping this would be an easier sort of rush for us, but I have a feeling that we're going to have a good 9, 10, 11 like legitimate choices that we have to figure out through.
Yeah. Well, what's the next one you're going to throw at us?
So I feel like, and I'm second guessing this considering what both of y'all have thrown out for your first 2, but I thought at first that these 2 would kind of be, maybe not necessarily they would go through, but they would be like the stronger of my 4 options. Much like the first, or much like Bone, I should say, we haven't had a chance to really do too much yet with this artist, but they've definitely come up more than a few times on the podcast, despite the lack of recency. They were the subject of a 1-song episode. Although, to be fair, we could have done a 5-song about them with relative ease. We could have done a 10-song probably and not really missed a beat. The favorite band of at least one of our listeners, in fact, and if you are listening, dear listener, just know that you have impeccable taste to profess your love of the great Fleetwood Mac. 18 studio albums, because I can read. 24 tours, accolades on accolades on accolades. I could be here all day talking about how amazing this band is on paper. And I feel like it's a band that all 3 of us have really kind of shared our love and adoration for, above and beyond just like, oh, they're a really good band. I think it goes a little bit further than that for all 3 of us. So I humbly submit them for our rush.
Here's what's weird about where I'm at with this one. I want to have an argument, but they're another one. Like I love Fleetwood Mac. Don't get me wrong. Like, this is not a knock on the artist or on your pick. I think it's a good pick. I want to be able to argue against it because reasons. I don't really have any. It's just, I want to argue and I'm having trouble coming up with an argument. And they're one that has come up on other things too, because they've had, hits that have made Billboard, and we've had to talk about them in re-ranks and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess I agree.
I'm having the same problem that you were having. Like, I don't have a disagreement at all. I think that, yeah, we have sort of the advantage of having done years where their stuff comes up, or having plenty of conversations where they're more than relevant because they're a cornerstone of the last 50 years of popular music and rock. But no, and the fun part, again, just like a lot of those 1-song episodes, the fun part is going, this is a band I know, this is a band I love, and I'm still going to go find things that I either completely forgot that was there, or stuff that I just missed and discover new stuff. And I mean, that's,
in their case, it was both.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes.
It was like, I vaguely remembered that they had albums before the Buckingham Nicks era, but I never really listened to them.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's if anything felt kind of blah for me with this pick, it was exactly that. They have so many hits. They are such a uber popular band. But there are other uber popular bands that I looked at and thought, there's no way. No. This is a band I love, but this is not an FKA band. Fleetwood Mac just it's that, it's that inexplicable thing, but they definitely check that box for me.
Yeah, and I can't explain. I really I'm stuck on this thing where I can't explain why I want to argue against it.
Well, we will certainly have a chance once we get all of our picks out at the very end. We'll come up with our four that we all agree on. So there may be some arguments that come to mind at that point, Jay. I'm excited to hear them.
Dan, are we going to argue about your next one?
I hope not. Not for the sake of, well, period. Because I think I already broke my little milestone thing, but more so, less for us and more so for him. Because taking a look at this from the chart side, there's also something to be said, I would say, for someone who's not only been a major part of them for almost the entire lifespan of the show, but for someone who has taken a hold of such a large part of the zeitgeist for quite a long period of that at time as well. As we came into existence, he was actually in the process of resetting his place in the music industry and trying to untangle some contractual obligations. But from mid-2022 on, it's been K-Dot's spot at the front of the pack, with everyone else doing their best or worst to try to catch up. From Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers through to GNX, Kendrick Lamar has grabbed a hold of multiple worlds in the entertainment sphere and made a permanent mark who deserves, I would say, to be recognized as part of our rush. Just in the FKA era, this man has 14 Grammys, a pair of Emmys, a trunk full of MTV Video Music Awards, which are still a thing, BET Awards, BET Hip Hop Awards, American Music Awards, NAACP Image Awards, Billboard Music Awards, and a Gold Lion from the Cannes Film Festival. And obviously, most importantly, a Nickelodeon's Kid Choice Award for Fave Music Collaboration. Oh, yeah. And probably also permanently dislodging Drake from his prominent position on the Pop Mountain. Although, to be fair, he's done a good job doing that himself.
Yeah.
But all that is to say that Kendrick has been one of the most productive, thoughtful, and important artists of the last 5 or 6 years, and has opened so many doors in multiple industries, and is without a doubt one of the most influential artists of the last 20 years or so. And that's why I'd say all of that, and probably more than y'all could add, means he would deserve a spot on the mountain.
Yeah, I would say add to that list of criteria a likely place of honor on the FKA mantle, because he's not in my top. He's not in the 4 that I picked, but I did put him in the honorable mentions. And the reason that he didn't make the top 4, this is literally what I wrote. I wrote Kendrick Lamar. I mean, come on.
Look, I'm not going to lie. I was pretty sure at some point one of these arguments for these artists was going to be like, come on.
Guys, come on. Dan, you mentioned Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. You mentioned GNX. I don't remember where those fell as albums, Jay, for both of us. I'm sure they were at least honorable mentions, if not ranked fairly high in our top 3.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Morale was in my top 3. GNX was not, but it was very. I left it off because I knew you were going to put it on yours,
and I think I did. It might have been my number 1 album of November of 24. I think it came out.
Yeah.
But the other side of the coin that I wanted to mention, Dan, specifically to you, 9 charting singles that scored 75 or higher on your list, including your highest scoring charting single ever of Not Like Us.
Yeah.
Because I did research on what would have been my 3rd choice for this episode that I now don't have to give anymore because you gave it for me.
Wow.
Nice. Okay. So there we go.
I'm also more impressed that you were into that file.
I was deep. I was digging.
Clearly.
That seems like a vast morass that I want not to wade into.
You trust me, you don't.
It's a treasure trove in there. And you had like 2 that were 74, but it's like I had to have a round number. I had to stop somewhere.
Well, it's a good thing I had already put a check mark next to his name on my page.
Yeah. Yep. That one's signed, sealed, and delivered for sure.
Cool.
Good stuff.
Right on.
Jay, what do you got for your next selection?
Well, I'm going to throw one out there that I'm not sure whether it'll make the final throw. But you know what? I'm going to stick with my whole recency bias potential here. And that is that I didn't really know who she was until Ray left her major label Polydor and began releasing music on her own terms. For years, she'd written hits for others, but struggled to get her own album released. And that led to a very public split in 2021. And after that, she independently released My 21st Century Blues in 2023. And that's when everything clicked, specifically for me, but also for the world. Her songwriting got more personal, the sound got more cohesive, and her artistry is just fearless. This is, again, it's another personal note for me. I couldn't say enough about her in 2023 when My 21st Century Blues released. It is still one of my most listened to records 3 years later. I know what day it is. And as more singles start dropping from the most recent record, I expect that we're going to be talking about her even more in the months to come, and always with glowing positivity.
It is something to be said that she has been able to be able to have the level of success and the level of notoriety. I don't know if that has a negative connotation. It's not meant to at all, of course, that she's had, considering that her latest album that we just talked about, that you just talked about, in glowing reviews just last month, just in our March reviews, This Music May Contain Hope. Number 1 in the UK, of course, no surprise there. Number 11 here in the States, which was a surprise to me. Well deserved, sure, but it just is a sign that like it's gone beyond the borders of England, and the world at large is starting to realize how amazing of an artist she truly is, and I love that. As far as this list, I did not have her, honestly, on my honorable mentions because I feel like she was one that I've always loved. I've always enjoyed, but I think it maybe is more of the recency thing, at least from my own recognizance of her. And maybe that's part of the reason why Sleep Token has been off as well, since I've only been on them for a shorter period. But I feel like it's just like Sleep Token. She may be one when her third album drops in the next few years. Maybe we're talking about her again in the same context.
Yeah. And truthfully, like that, I expected that as the reaction to my pick here. But, as I said, I took this from a very personal perspective when I'm making this list. And I don't see how I could have put anybody else in this spot based on my reaction to her music.
Yeah, she was one of 3 that I would have expected if this was just like your
just for me, yeah.
yeah. Her and then Sleep Token and then one more that maybe is going to show up on your list. So I don't want to spoil it if so.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
So where does that leave us? Because this is Zach's list. He's already given a third one. So do we just want to skip over to Dan, or Zach, you want to give your fourth?
And then okay. Reverse.
Yeah.
Uno reverse.
Go for it. I'll sit this one
Draw
out.
100.
Damn it.
Don't do that. Uno infinity.
I'm not buying that for games.
No.
I promise you that.
Yeah, no shot, bro. No shot.
And if someone does show up to one of your game nights with a copy of essentially Uno Infinity that includes that Draw 100 card, you have more than the right to do to them what we used to do at our house parties when someone would come over with a 30-pack of Natty Light.
What's that?
Quick ejection, Jazzy Jeff style, if you will.
The fuck out of here.
Get shit out of here.
Now, Boone's Farm, that's all right.
That's fine. Boone's Farm was good. Although, to be fair, now that I think about it, it was more of a, okay, you guys can come in, but that has to stay outside.
Yeah. It needs to know what it did.
That's right.
Healthy little friend has to stay out there.
That's right. It can sit next to Keystone Light.
Ugh.
What am I doing?
I don't know. Giving us a pick.
Same.
Okay. Yeah, no, cool. Because I think that leads me further down that pop perspective when it comes to the milestones. And I mean, it gets what I do here. And if we go back all the way to the origins of this show and the summer of no pool parties, cookouts, or even a random water balloon fight, the 3 of us came together and found some common ground on one pop star at first. And we found that common ground in the form of a glittering disco pop beats, phenomenal synth pop bass lines, an element that screamed, I have to dance even if there's nowhere else to do it except this tiny living room, and a voice that just met the moment. So when all three of us came together to rave about the Titanic future nostalgia, it gave us that first artist that really no one could argue about, even while being stuck inside 24/7 charged our inner powder kegs faster than watching someone take 20 minutes to decide on what to order, even though it took us a day and a half in this line to get up to the counter. But in that spirit, I submit Dua Lipa for our Rushmore as that pop milestone that got us all on the same page. And, honestly, in an area where we find cohesion, but kind of rarely. And even as she pushed her boundaries out further into the neo-nostalgia waters on Radical Optimism and is probably in the right album timeline to start dropping new music at some point here this year, I think we've pretty much stayed on that same level with her work, if I remember correctly, which also not reliable, but it's still pretty impressive considering this group. I mean, when the tagline of the show is three friends arguing about music, the first artist to draw some sort of cohesion in the said group is worthy of some sort of recognition.
Yeah, I also and I'm trying to look back right now just to see if I can find it, but I'm relatively certain that Future Nostalgia dropped the same month that we started this podcast.
March of 2020. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So it was when we decided this is what we were going to do. It goes so far back. I'm pretty sure the first review of the album was written on the website.
Yeah. Yep. That does not surprise me.
And it's been a hot minute since we've used that route.
It's too hard.
I forgot all about this. It was a miss. This would have absolutely been an honorable mention and perhaps a top 4 for me if I had remembered. But like you said, it was Future Nostalgia was like, it feels like eons ago. I know it's only 6 years, but man, what a powerhouse of an album.
Right.
Also in that same write-up would have been Brian Fallon, Party Next Door, Half Waif, Jim Lauderdale, and Kim Ritchie from me. None of them have had that staying power.
Well,
and 5 Seconds of Summer at a glance too. They got a sorry but no from you. It was earned. It was
no notes. Yeah. Literally the second honorable mention that I wrote down.
Nice.
It was Dua Lipa.
Oh, woof. It gets harder. Again, reflection being what it was, this may have also been my number 4 had I had this thought, a few hours ago. But Jay, we know that Dua Lipa is just an honorable mention for you so far. So what about your next pick for your top 4?
Oh man, unfortunately, my next 2 picks are both sort of stuck here just between me and Zach. But I'll go with one that, again, every time a record drops, it's on a list. Every time we get the chance to throw it on a chance to talk about a single or lyrics or any of those things, we are talking about Biffy Clyro. Despite one album of meh, whenever Biffy is mentioned, it is with fangirl glee and more than a moderate helping of gush. Molded from all the best parts of mall punk, emo, pop, post-grunge, and Scotland, I will toot their particular horn at every opportunity.
The Scotland part of that's doing work too.
It's doing a lot of work.
Let me tell you. After having been there, yeah, it's every bit as magical there as they sound. This was another very early FKA album for me because that was when I first came on board. It would have been when Many of Horror came out, which I think was on Only Revolutions, if memory serves.
I think so.
And then the rest of that album, absolute banger, obviously. Opposites, which came a few years later, was one that I came to know after A Celebration of Endings dropped in August of 2020. And I was like, oh, that's that band that sang that song. And oh, they sing all these other great songs too. Oh, wow, I'm going to be busy for a while. And I was. Yeah, that one, just to spoil a little bit, I did have as a very specific honorable mention for exactly the reason you mentioned, Jay, that is more of like you and I certainly vibing to them. Dan, I don't know if you've gotten on board as much. I know the song "I'm the Mountain" for sure you fucked with, but I don't for reasons.
I was just looking that up to make sure how I could explain how it did come together, and I finally got on that train. And yeah, so crossover to a dormant show, but I was aware of Biffy Clyro before I was aware of Biffy Clyro, thanks to one Joe Hendry and his parody of Mountains, which phenomenal when he was doing weekly. Is he standing behind me? Because we just said his name.
Oh, for sure he is. Don't turn around.
You only said it once. He hasn't been summoned yet.
No, all you have to do is say his name and he appears. So I had known that's the song before I knew the band, and then y'all have raved about the band, so I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm listening to this band. Absolutely.
I think you would dig a lot of their work, Dan. I really do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I threw them on here again, very personal standpoint, knowing full well that it's a personal thing for Zach as well, but fully expecting that it doesn't wind up making the final cut. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that was one where I had to separate myself, just with the guardrails that I put in place. Like, it was one of the first bands I thought of, like, oh, of course. But then I thought, but I don't know if it meets, that criteria for me. Specifically for me, absolutely. It's certainly within that list.
And going back, peeling back the curtain a little bit further, one of their earliest records, which it's Black and Sky. Black and Sky. Yeah. Or is that the song? I'm really brain farting hard at the moment.
No, that's their first album, Black and Sky from 2002.
Yeah. The first track from Black and Sky is something that I played on the air my first year as a DJ.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Amazing. It was a single of theirs too. I didn't realize. Holy shit. Joy Discovery Intervention.
Yep.
Very nice. Yeah. Good picks all around so far, y'all. God, I really hate my last one now based on that. Because again, alluding to what you had mentioned, Dan, this felt like a cop-out. This felt like the super uber popular band that was kind of being bolted on to the end of my list. But at the same time, this is a band that we've talked about ad nauseum multiple times. This is a band that we've had a one-song episode about, despite them having a very, very relatively small catalog of only 3 albums. This is a band that one day may spawn an unsung episode at some point. They're on one of their members is on our list for an unsung episode. But yeah, it is. It's Nirvana, guys. I don't know. I feel like they belong. I feel like my issue with it is that they belong on a number of lists, and there are so many podcasts that would put Nirvana in this exact list on their Rush episode if they were to do that. And that's why, to me, it felt like I don't want to be like everyone else. I don't want to be like all the other podcasts. They're like, oh, of course we'll pick Nirvana. There's Nirvana. But at the same time, it is Nirvana, and we have talked about them ad nauseum so much. It's a band beloved by the masses, but it's also a band beloved by the 3 of us. And I feel like I want to shoot holes in my argument, like you were talking about with Fleetwood Mac, Jay, but I don't think I really have any to shoot. So I humbly submit Nirvana as my 4th choice.
Again, it's another one. Like, I'm with you. Like, I want to argue against it, similar to my arguments against Fleetwood Mac, which are non-existent. Like, I want to, I don't know how.
Exactly. I mean, the only thing I could say maybe that might be quote unquote against it is just looking at the idea that like they kind of represent a whole concept musically for us.
Yeah. Because
we're essentially 80s to 90s kids. So like we were discovering music when they led that utter break to kill the 80s, and so many deserved, careers that also deserve to catch that break and be done by then.
Yeah.
Also, for like half of that intro, I wholly expected you to nominate the Spice Girls.
You know, they should have been an honorable mention. We did have an episode about them. It was not a bad episode at all. It was a good.
That's what I'm saying. That's where I thought we were going.
Awesome. Hell yeah!
I regularly think about the Spice Girls episode.
It was better than I expected it to be because I didn't know what to expect, and it was solid. It was super solid.
Our episode on the one song we did for Nirvana was a good episode as well. Significantly less fun than the Spice Girls episode.
Well, yeah. Honestly, that was the most unique take on I often think about the Roman Empire meme that I've ever expected.
Yeah.
Amazing. As I slot in the Spice Girls as a honorable mention at the 11th hour.
Yeah, they weren't on my list either.
Oh boy. Well, Dan, I think this is the moment of truth for me. Was Nirvana also your cop-out choice for your fourth pick, or was it a different band? Or artist?
No, and it's more of a cop-out for y'all because I couldn't keep up with my fourth choice. And I figured, again, we're looking at milestones, and we're talking about bands and artists that have been a constant over the last 6+ years. And if for nothing else, I would assume that also would refer to probably the most prolific artist over the span of this here show. And with putting out 12 records in the run of Fairly Kick-Ass, if that doesn't mean that King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard deserve at least some mention here, I don't know what else does.
You are not wrong. And it would say something too if any of those albums were lacking in any sort of quality, and they're not.
They're not at all.
There was a time though, honestly, the thing that surprised me most about what you just said is we've been doing this show for 6 years and they've released 12 records. I feel like it's been more than that.
So did I, and that's why I had to go look it up to make sure. Because
it's been a minute since they've released one though.
Not that long though.
I mean, they were doing 3 a year for a minute.
Okay, yeah, they were doing. Yes, they slowed, but they still put a record out last summer.
Yeah, and we talked about it.
Yeah,
when we did our episode, we absolutely did. So,
and I admit it took me again a little bit longer to come along, and then the one that stuck with me because it was kind of like, I'll give this a shot. And then I was getting a boot right in the chiclets was Ice, Death, Planet, Lungs, Mushrooms, and Lava.
That's a great record.
Best
and I went,
name.
I get it now. I'm in.
Dude, I don't even like jam rock as a rule.
I mean, neither really. That's the thing.
It just hits different.
That's exactly it. That's the best way to put it. And again,
unabashedly love them so much.
I will say it's certainly not new music, but they do release a lot of like live shit either on like their Bandcamp digitally or I'm on the vinyl releases subreddit a lot. Don't ever go there. It will suck you in and it will bleed your wallet dry. It's a terrible place. But they do have some of their live releases and some of their like demos, tapes and things do show up there. So at least even if they're not putting out music, they're still putting out music. You know what I mean? They're still active in the distribution side, which is still 12 albums in 6 years. Like, you deserve a break. Like, you don't have to do anything after that, but they're still getting after it.
Agreed. I have no argument.
I don't either. This sucks.
Well, let's see if I can present an argument for my last pick.
As one last one, I was just looking at that's still their first record came out in 2012.
Yeah.
27 albums ago.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Unrealistic.
Yeah. 14 years, 27 albums. It's stupid. I don't understand it.
Jay, what do you understand about your final pick?
You know, less than I want and more than I should. I don't know. That's not how that works. Forget it. Aesop Rock is my fourth pick. Not everything Ace does is solid gold, but literally none of it is worse off than Tarnished Silver. At his best, no one can touch him. And Aesop Rock is one of the most lyrically dense and inventive rappers alive. packing more meaning, imagery, and obscure references into a verse than most artists manage in an entire record. He keeps coming up on our podcast because every listen reveals something new. His music practically demands discussion as well as decoding and debate. And honestly, I feel like everybody should listen to him at least twice, because even if you don't catch every line, the sheer like creativity, honesty, and we'll call it the offbeat brilliance make him pretty impossible to ignore. And every time he drops a record, we have to drop everything and figure out how to talk about it.
He is, God, I started listening to his shit in college.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the oldest, like regular, like more recent artists that like, and more underground artists that like maybe the very first one that I was like, I don't know who this person is. And I know he's never going to be on the radio, but I love him and I'm going to listen to everything and love everything he does. He has so few misses, like even the super lyrically dense stuff that he's had, like even the stuff that I would read like the lyrics on what used to be Rap Genius and is now just Genius. If you're old enough to remember Rap Genius, then I'm sorry. But like even reading it and not even having to listen to it, it's like, I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about, but I agree with every single word. It's just perfect.
It's the delivery.
It's the delivery, 100%. It's another one that was on my honorable mentions for that reason, Jay. And I think another one maybe like Biffy Clyro that I don't know that you have gotten as much into, Dan, as Jay and I have, but yeah.
No,
solid.
but Jay had the perfect description there, because everything has always just felt dense in the best possible way. Like not, and lyrically, of course, but not just that, just everything that I've heard of his musically feels dense in the way that you want that weight upon your brain.
Yes.
So yeah, no, absolutely no arguments.
And also an artist not necessarily to the level of 12 albums that King Gizzard has had, but has still come out with 5 albums since we started doing this podcast.
Yeah.
So still a lot of output for us to sink our teeth into. And I'm sure every single album was at least, again, honorable mention plus for you and I.
Drop a couple of EPs in there as well and guest spots on other records. Aesop Rock, friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. I don't hate it. He just came out with something with Homeboy Sandman. I think it was last month, in fact.
Yep.
Their collab Lice, which was tight. Go check it out. Woof.
Right?
Yeah, it makes it
didn't
tough,
get
right?
easier. It didn't get easier.
No. So you want me to run through the list real quick?
Please.
The groups that we have to join Prince up there on the mountain. The aforementioned Aesop Rock, Nirvana, Biffy Clyro, King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard, Ray, Kendrick Lamar, Fleetwood Mac, Sleep Token, The Divinyls, Bone Thugs, and Dua Lipa.
Damn. What a killer list. Do we want to deliberate now, or do we want to do honorable mentions and then go back to the deliberation?
Go ahead and do honorable mentions, because I don't have any honorable mentions.
I was going to say, I want to throw out a couple of honorable mentions before we deliberate, because I do feel like there's a couple of these that we overlooked just a little bit, either for humorous reasons or just because of the way we took this particular episode.
For sure.
For starters, if we got to talk about the thing that broke the podcast for like a solid year, is D'Angelo. No kidding. It's hard to talk about something that was pivotal to this podcast and not mention D'Angelo.
I don't even know how to explain that anymore, just because I don't even know if that audio exists anymore. I don't know if we legally can talk about how we got to that point just yet. Like there's a statute of limitations. It will be lifted in the near future, and I just can't right now.
I'm trying to remember what episode that even was.
It was the top 5 sex jams.
Was it sex jams? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, because I knew you and Dan were doing a different unnamed thing for a different piece of content in that same day, and that was a brilliant episode for a number of reasons.
Is it because we were paralytic drunk?
That's the one. That's the one.
Is it because we got to the conversation about D'Angelo and I thought I was going to pass out because I was laughing so hard? I was working on a lack of oxygen.
Yes.
Is it possibly because that world melded into another world and I had people outside of this podcast that we still were content creators with threatening me with follow-ups to said these things?
Yes. All of those things.
That moment would live on in infamy if it was anywhere that was listenable, and I don't know if it is. We'll have to see if we can rectify that.
I don't know if it exists anywhere, but I feel like I have a laptop I should probably go dig through stuff for.
Yeah.
What a hell of a pull, Jay. I totally forgot.
Completely. Again, not until you said that name, and I was like, oh my God. It all came rushing back.
To a less extensive degree, I would throw Cyndi Lauper in there as a friend of the pod, somebody who every time we talk about a cover episode or any of our 80s re-ranks, she shows up pretty religiously.
Mm-hmm.
More recently, I would throw out the Billie Eilish, Taylor Swift, Sabrina Carpenter, and Olivia Rodrigo cartel, who show up all the time for their pop singles as well as their albums, and none of us ever has a truly negative thing to say, with the exception of a little bit there in the Taylor Swift category. How about Megan Thee Stallion? It's been a minute.
True.
But she comes up regularly and always positively.
That's good. That's a real good pull.
Except that Maroon 5 song.
Yeah, that's a less good pull.
Right. I also wanted to mention, so one of the ones I thought of was Samara Joy, but for lack of volume, and by volume I mean quantity, she didn't make my final list. Willow also just missed the cut for a lot of the same reasons. And then I threw on the entire Griselda team, just because, again, whenever something comes up, it's all of them. And we talk about, well, at least two of us talk about them on a regular, well, at least one of us talks about them on a regular basis.
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I felt like that was targeted.
We also, I was making a list of the beefs on the show as well, and I only came up with 3, and 2 of them are mine. So,
let's have it.
Well, there's the Peter Cetera, which has been a show beef from the beginning.
Yep.
Then also Lisa.
I forgot about the weirdest beef in the history.
Oh my God,
beefs.
that's right.
Listen,
y'all went in so hard on these.
I really did.
I was losing my shit the whole time.
Shouldn't have made head to toe.
Yeah, like incredible. Here's the thing. She had friends. It's Lisa and Cult Jam. Somebody could have put a stop to this a long time ago. And then more recently, obviously, is Future and my particular beef with Future.
Oh my gosh. I forgot about because I think I don't know if it was like one of his most recent albums. I don't think it was his collab album with Drake. It was something else. Maybe I was talking about Mask Off or something, but I was like, yeah, I really like Future. And it's like the record screeched to a halt. And I was like, oh no. Was it something I said? It absolutely was something I said.
I think you also tried to put Jumpman in your top 10 of one of our recent re-rack. Yeah.
Oh, you did.
I love Jumpman.
I think I had it at 99 on my list, something like that. I don't remember.
I don't think I hated it that bad, but it was doing me no favors.
Oh, it's a guilty pleasure song for sure. Which we should do that piece. I know we did that episode once.
Should do it again.
Do it again.
We did that, I think, once. Like we took a top 5 that we had done before and like rejiggered it to see if we still.
It was a Christmas episode, I think.
It was. You're right. Yeah. Maybe we'll do that for guilty pleasures.
There we go. Top 5 chopped and screwed.
Before we finish deliberating, Zach, did you have any extra ones you wanted to throw out?
I had a few. I had mentioned, or you had mentioned, Biffy Clyro as kind of that 2 out of 3 ain't bad category between just you and I. I did have a couple of other of those that I think would have gone if the other person was really, as big into it as two were. One was you and the two of you and Tom Waits specifically was one that I immediately thought of. Like, if I wasn't in this picture, Tom is probably in the top 4 for both of you.
Yeah.
Nothing against him. I like his work, but y'all love his work, and I definitely wanted to point that out. And then Dan, if it was just you and me, I think Dashboard Confessional would certainly have a spot towards the top of that list.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just thought it was interesting that we had this, kind of two of us having such strong feelings about these artists and not just like one of us. So I just wanted to point that out. A couple of others that just, maybe barely made the cut or barely missed the cut were Soundgarden and The Weeknd for vastly different reasons, perhaps. But I think in a different universe, they certainly could have screeched into that top 4. And then I know you kind of did this with the beef list, Jay. I did something similar on my side, which was basically like the Saja Boys to our top 4's Huntrix. And I came up with Peter Cetera, of course, JP Sachs, Lauv, and I just have the words bro country in quotes. So, do with that category what you will.
At some point, am I just going to make like a most hated top 10 and just go off?
Yes, please. Please. We are here for it.
Okay. Well, let's put that onto the side then. Can I also mention one name that volume wise doesn't, but I think if they had put something out within the last 6 years would definitely put an album out, would definitely survive. And I say it because it's been in my head in a weird place, because for the last 2 days I've had the phrase close your eyes and count to fuck stuck in my head. So then for the last 2 days I had the song close your eyes and count to fuck stuck in my head. So I want to throw out there Run the Jewels.
RTJ all day. Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
No.
Put out more music. Come on, Mike. Come on, L. Put them out.
Right.
Zach, if you want to collab with them again, I would not be opposed to that at all.
I would not be opposed to that even a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Legit. Good aspect.
Okay, so I think we've got a pretty clear, a pretty clear 2-member thing on our rush out of the ones that we've said. And I think the third one is hazily clear. The fourth one is the one that's in question. I would throw out that Kendrick
for sure
is an easy win, and Sleep Token is an easy second.
I would be good with that.
I would throw out my votes for Dua Lipa and Bone Thugs and Harmony
as your other two.
Yes.
I think if I was looking at just if I was looking at any of them, Bone would certainly be Bone and Kendrick. Obviously, Kendrick would be there. Bone would be up there. I think just based on pure volume alone, I would probably give King Gizzard a nod, and probably for much of the same reasons, I would strongly consider Aesop Rock getting a nod too, just because of the volume and how much we've talked about his work on the pod. Like it certainly has been a part of many of our review sessions.
Yeah, also true. Dan, what would you throw your weight behind?
I think it break the tie, and obviously Kendrick. Probably good on Sleep Token, and I'll make it a sweep on Bone.
Okay. So now we got to argue between Dua Lipa, King Gizzard, the Lizard Wizard, and Aesop Rock.
Man, of those three, I'd be okay with any of them. I'd certainly be okay to give it to Dua. Just for the nostalgia factor, no pun intended. Actually,
yeah, that's a tricky one for me too. Like I feel like it's a tough call. I lean toward Dua specifically because, as Dan pointed out, like it was the thing that started this podcast. It took it from the written word into the spoken word, and it's hard to. It's real hard to talk against that. Like, as much as I love Aesop Rock, and that was my pick, and King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard, who I listen to regularly, not more regularly than Dua Lipa, though.
Yeah, I don't think I could say that we wouldn't have a pod if not for Future Nostalgia. I think that maybe is a step too far, but I think it certainly jump-started the fervor, the excitement that we had to a very high degree. And, maybe it kind of got us to where we're at right now, at least to the output and what we're doing. So yeah, I don't think that's hyperbole at all, honestly.
No. And from a personal perspective, I don't think it's hyperbole to say that record changed the way I listen to music.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could say that was hyperbole, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, like right off the bat, an album that like probably a year prior I wouldn't have even thought to listen to. I wouldn't have touched.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with it.
Mm-hmm. For good reason.
Yeah. So I would throw my weight in that direction.
Yeah, I can't really, I don't think I have a stronger argument for Ace Rock and for King Gizzard. Like I have arguments for them, but I don't think any is as strong as what you just laid out. And not to be a slouch either, that Radical Optimism was also a great album too. So as much as Future Nostalgia was like a cornerstone, a keystone, I guess, for us, like we still also very much vibe to Radical Optimism. Yeah. And whatever's coming out in 2027, I hope, Dua, ? Dan, I know this was your choice, but I don't want to assume that you're good with it because that's where you sitting.
No, I'm okay. Like I already made my argument, so I'm not really. Actually, I think Jay's were probably stronger than mine.
Well, I just like you also threw out King Gizzard, so like if you had a stronger argument in that direction,
right.
I didn't because it was. I mean, like it was the crazy bastards put out 12 records since we started this show, and they've all been fun.
I know,
going back to and taking them all in. So that's what I had.
Cool. I think we got it then.
I think we're there. So just to quickly recap, our Mount Rushmore of FKA artists for the show include Bone Thugs and Harmony, Dua Lipa, Kendrick Lamar, and Sleep Token.
And of course, Prince.
Of course.
And of course. One of one.
Dude, Prince is the mountain. The rest of them are carved into him. Or something.
Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Yeah, that embodies us. I feel like those four artists I could look at and say, that's us. That's no other podcast is living in that space that we're in with those four artists. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, I'm down.
All right, boys. Do we do the plugs now, or do we have other business?
No, I was trying to find my card. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, me.
I mean, I was just going to make it quick because once you finish a playlist that involves all five of those artists, I mean, then you should just kind of like tell us what you think. Are we way off our rocker? Do we not deserve to be music reviewers after picking these as the best representatives for this podcast? I mean, that's probably true, but you should tell us that. And you do that by finding us on Blue Sky, on Instagram, on Threads, on TikTok. Of course, just search for @FairlyKickAss or FairlyKickAss.com. You'll get to us either way. And if you really feel like you got to go more than just those 140 or 280 or how many more characters you get on Threads, just hit us up at fairlyKickass@gmail.com.
Woot.
Like, comment, subscribe, all those fun things that we're supposed to tell you to do. But also, like, I don't know, tell a friend. Be like, hey, you like music. I got 3 jackasses that you might be able to stand talking about music for a little while.
I mean, we want the viewers to keep their friends, though. That's the thing.
Oh, shit. That's right.
Well, so maybe it's hey, don't you also hate Peter Cetera?
Yes.
That's the hook.
That's right.
The hook.
That's right.
Bring them on in.
We should start a club. We can meet on Wednesdays.
Is it a support group? What are we talking about?
6-1 after doesn't know your mother.